In 1956, a sociologist whose name escapes my mind at the moment wrote that the biggest threat to society was an incestuous relationship between the rich and the powerful. Now, why I'm talking about a sociologist in 1956 who wrote something about a collusion between rich and the powerful? Because the book I'm going to review today is a shining example of a collusion between rich and the powerful, incestuous relationship between the rich, powerful and privileged people. The name of the book is Defining India Through Their Eyes, written by Sonia Singh, a senior editor at NDTV. This book is a collection of 15 interviews Sonia Singh conducted over a period of 2 years, 2018 up till second half of 2019. In this book, she has interviewed 15 very important people of India. These are her words. But before I review this book, I would like to say a few words on the name of the book, Defining India Through Their Eyes. Now, what is the meaning of this phrase, through their eyes? What does their stand for? Now, there in this book stands for those who are privileged, those who have access to power, and those who are themselves powerful. And this is defining India, looking at India through their eyes. There also means people who have been educated in Oxbridge University, people who have been to United States of America, and those who have lived a very comfortable life. I have a problem with this kind of definition of this country being put out. Sonia Singh in this book didn't even talk once about those who are not privileged. There is not a single interview with people who are not very famous with the upper middle class or the middle class. You come across characters who have played very important or crucial role in shaping this country. Her words, not my word. So this is what the book is all about. This book is a shining example, as I said earlier. This book is a shining example of incestuous relationship between the rich and the powerful. Sonia Singh being rich, if not rich, then at least powerful by virtue of being a senior editor at NDTV. And she has access to all those people who in some ways have played a role in Indian economy and politics. The first interview she conducted in this book was with Pranab Mukherjee, who, as he says, has a very illustrious career spanning over 40 years. And he was also President of India between 2012 and 2017. The problem with the first interview is that Pranab Mukherjee is treated with kid gloves. Not even once Sonia Singh asks question which could have pushed Pranab Mukherjee to the wall, or which could have made him struggle to answer. Throughout the interview, she is asking questions which don't have much relevance. There is on page number 4, Pranab Mukherjee claims that when he won Bharat Ratna, it was not Government of India honoring one individual, but rather it was Government of India honoring an individual who has sacrificed his 40 years for the country. Now, if I were a journalist, if I was Sonia Singh, my first instinct would have to ask Pranab Mukherjee that how he could say that Government of India was honoring an individual who sacrificed 40 years for the nation, because the award was given in the year 2019. Everyone knows that Narendra Modi and BJP was trying to make inroads in Bengal. Bengal was the last fortress which was not breached by BJP, and BJP was trying to make inroads in Bengal. And by honoring Pranab Mukherjee in January of 2019, it was BJP was trying to send a message to Bengalis that their asmita, their pride will be respected. But Pranab Mukherjee is not asked this question. Sonia Singh just nods, says yes, you are right, and all those things. Pranab Mukherjee says on page number 4, and I am quoting him, I feel this is a larger recognition, not a recognition of an individual. In fact, in this case, I entirely agree with Rahul Gandhi. I felt this was one of the best tweets that ever came from him. Now, of course, Pranab Mukherjee will say that this was the best tweet which ever came from Rahul Gandhi, who said that it was government of India was honoring not an individual but rather a person who has sacrificed 40-45 years to the nation. But being a journalist, Sonia Singh should have been little skeptical in accepting this self-serving answer, but she does not. Pranab Mukherjee is not asked any question which could have made him feel little uncomfortable. The second interview is with Arun Jaitley, where he makes pompous claims, where he draws a comparison between India and Pakistan and says that India has prospered because we strengthened Indian democracy every day, whereas Pakistan floundered because they were not putting effort into building democracy in their country. Again, Sonia Singh does not ask even one question challenging Arun Jaitley's assertion that India has strengthened its democracy every day. How has India strengthened its democracy every day? Just go back to history, 1950s, you will come across many examples where our government was either sabotaging or subverting the system. The best example is 1957, when Communist Party, which came to power in Kerala through ballot, not through bullet. That happened for the first time in history of world, that a communist party was coming to power through ballot and not bullet. That communist government was sacked by Nehru's cabinet, because Nehru thought that communists were a danger to India. There have been many examples in 70s when Indira Gandhi subverted Indian democracy. Not only emergency, but emergency was only one of the aspects of subversion carried out by Indian government. There were many examples, like the creation of Bhindarwale, the man who turned against Indira Gandhi later in his life. But the fact of the matter is that he was created by Indira Gandhi to counter Akalis. What happened in Kashmir, what happened in Northeast. There are many examples, but Arun Jaitley, he makes this pompous claim and Sonia Singh says, that's right, that's right, that's right. If you are going to agree with each and every claim and assertion of politician, then why are you a journalist? Be their PA, be their secretary. The job of a journalist is to be skeptical, to ask hard-hitting questions, to make to hold politicians responsible for their action, to hold those who are in power, hold them accountable. But Sonia Singh does not do these things. She is not concerned with holding powerful people accountable. Her sole aim is to ask soft questions which could have been answered even by a 6-year-old boy or girl. In this book, you don't come across one fact which you already did not know. If you are reading any Indian newspaper, even tabloid like Mirror today, you will not need to read this book, because all the facts that have been given in this book, we already know about it. The claims made by Arun Jaitley, the claims made by Pranab Mukherjee, we are already in the know. We are in the know because these information are in the public domain. These are not classified things. We don't even get juicy gossip. That also doesn't happen. There are other interviews. There is an interview with Dalai Lama where His Holiness Dalai Lama is praised as reincarnation of Buddha, and his twinkling and shining eyes, blah blah, etc., etc. How he came to India, Nehru's response when Dalai Lama came to India, we already know. Tell us something which we don't know. Then there is an interview with Nirmala Sitharaman, the first woman defense minister of India, and where she talks about how she comes from a family which has roots in Congress. Her husband's family was associated with Congress, but how her mother-in-law encouraged her to join politics and do something for the nation. This journalist, Sonia Singh, doesn't ask first woman defense minister of India to tell us something about the so-called surgical strike across the border which took place on 26th of February, Balakot. Nirmala Sitaraman makes tall claims that we did this, we did that, and what Sonia Singh does is she nods, she says yes. Not one question which could be called hard. So all the personalities interviewed here have been treated with kid glove. There is an interview with Kailash Satyarthi, and again we don't get anything new from this interview. In fact, there is a huge controversy about Kailash Satyarthi. In 2003, Mark Tully wrote a book called India in Slow Motion, where he talked about Kailash Satyarthi's work with children who were enslaved and his NGOs. His NGOs worked in Uttar Pradesh and Delhi NCR region. Mark Tully in that book had written, rather I would say he had accused Kailash Satyarthi of making huge amount of money by indulging in things which could be called only corruption. In 1990s, there was a movement going on in Europe. Europe had said that we will not be buying carpets from India because carpet industry in India employs children. Now, Mark Tully in that book had written that Kailash Satyarthi started giving certificate to these industries, certifying that these industries did not employ children. And when Mark Tully went to Kailash Satyarthi and asked him that how could you give so many certificates to so many small and medium-sized industry without even verifying, Kailash Satyarthi did not answer Mark Tully. So of course we have we know that Kailash Satyarthi is not a man who could be called Doodh Ka Dhula. There have been controversies in past about him, but Sonia Singh is not concerned about all these things. Kailash Satyarthi is made to look a great hero. So again, a black and white picture painted in this book about each and every personality she has interviewed. There is no scope, there is no room for grey areas, either black or white. And mind you, all the personalities here, they come out as heroes, so only white, not even black. There is an interview with Sachin Tendulkar. This book ends with an interview with Sachin Tendulkar, and again the same thing. We don't get anything new. We already knew all the things that he is talking about. Sonia Singh does not ask him a question about his passion for cricket. Rather, we are given statistics, how he scored a century, how he flew into India for one day in 1999 when his father died, and then on the second day he went back to join his team because he had to play for the nation. So again, a hero who is not even thinking of his father's death and going on to score century after century. So this book overall fails on multiple levels. I would say this book fails on all the levels. Will I ever recommend this book? If this book was priced at 10 rupees, even then I would have thought twice recommending this book. But because this book is priced at 599 rupees, I would say absolutely not. This book is a shining example of incestuous relationship between the rich and the powerful. You don't have to spend 599 rupees to know things which you already know. There is no language in this book either. You won't even be able to improve your language. You won't even come across a single word which you already didn't know. And she has said, I have written this book in chatty English. Chatty English doesn't mean degrade English. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.